Hi, this is Sue, and I'm going to tell you about an article about long-term on weight loss surgery. If you have attended a bariatric surgery seminar, have you heard much about what condition your body will be in 10 or 20 years? If you ask most weight loss surgery surgeons about long-term patients, they will tell you they don't know any, or maybe they only know a couple 8 to 10 years out, which isn't really very long-term. People have this surgery, most people, to prolong their lives so they can see their kids or grandkids grow up. But sadly, in my experience, I've seen a lot of patients who do not live long enough to see their kids grow up. My friend Trish, who had a VBG, which is a stomach stapling only, died when her daughter was 18 and her husband was in his 50s, even though she had had her VBG taken down 6 years before her death, when her stoma, where the food entered the stomach, totally closed up and she was unable to eat at all. They could never remove the staples from her stomach and had to partially remove her stomach to allow her to eat again. She's not the first long-termer who did not survive, for whom the surgery not only did not work to keep her slim, but also caused illness and more in her life. My friend Vicky in Australia died before her second grandchild was born. She too, like Trish, was in her mid-50s. She had originally lost 30 pounds after a gastroplasty, and from then on not only had to fight obesity, but also vitamin shortage and B12 shortages, etc. Surgeons tell us that clinically obese people will live longer if they have weight loss surgery. But those of us who have many clinically obese people in our family have seen them, without surgery, live into their 60s or 70s, even without weight loss, and sometimes longer than that, rather than dying in their 40s and 50s, as I've seen a lot of weight loss surgery patients do, or younger. There is a patient I have a letter from. She wrote this letter after Trish's death. It's about her experiences with an intestinal bypass, and I reprinted it with her permission on my weight loss surgery site. In part, she tells how she had her intestinal bypass when she was 16 years old, and had it reversed when she was 31 after 15 years of malabsorption, and she only lost 50 pounds with it. And after she had it reversed, she's been as high as over 300. She then lists a lot of long-term repercussions that she still suffers with. And she says she's tried to talk people out of weight loss surgery many times, but of course they want to believe the dream. She says, fact is, weight loss surgery does not work for the majority of people. Even those who feel it did work, are you sure you couldn't have done it yourself without the surgery? Consider the fact that you still have to diet and exercise and do everything right to see that loss on the scale. Honestly, did you really need to be cut and your internal organs changed forever? She's now lost 130 pounds just with diet and exercise. Do you think modern surgeries are free of these repercussions? This is what some folks try to tell us, and that's not true. According to the ASBMS, which is the professional organization for weight loss surgery surgeons, any surgery involving a bypass of the small bowel, which includes the gastric bypass, which is the gold standard of weight loss surgery, as well as the duodenal switch, can be expected to be at risk for, quote, at least some of, unquote, of the repercussions of the intestinal bypass, including liver and kidney failure, protein deficiency, mineral and electrolyte balance, chronic diarrhea, fragile, brittle bones, which break or shatter easily, that's osteoporosis, bowel obstruction, partial paralysis of the legs, and a gastric bypass friend of mine is in a wheelchair from this repercussion, and she still is over 300 pounds. How about the lap band? Well, it has its own set of repercussions, although they're not quite as, it's still considered the safest weight loss surgery. Longer-term patients have complained about it growing into the stomach or causing a perforation or hole in their stomachs, requiring removal. And many patients I've met have talked about discomfort with the band. I've watched lap band patients take 2 hours to drink a glass of juice or to eat a bowl of soup. Other lap banders had, a lot of lap banders complain about the weight loss isn't the greatest with it. How about the new vertical gastric sleeve? This is the latest and greatest. Well, it's just another gastroplasty like Vicky had, only more invasive. Vicky had her entire stomach and still suffered a lot of vitamin deficiencies, etc. But VSG patients only have 90% of their stomach removed, and they only have 10% of their stomach left, so it's about the size of a thumb. Is it effective? Well, according to one of our site advisors, a weight loss surgeon, he tells me he's placed several lap bands in VSG patients who had a lot of weight gain. And all weight loss surgery patients I've seen who have kept the weight off do the same thing as people that have not had surgery do. That is, they count calories, measure food, and exercise regularly. Weight loss surgery is not only not a quick fix, but it may not be a long-term fix for many people. Jody's story is not unusual. I've heard the same type of thing from many patients with all procedures, including the drastic duodenal switch, which includes a long intestinal bypass and the removal of most of the stomach. The Swedish obesity study found that 10 years after surgery, and that's all procedures, the average BMI was still 35, that's very obese, and only 36% of diabetics were in remission, although the surgery is now being sold for a great cure for diabetes. It doesn't seem that on a long-term basis. This is from an article published in the New England Journal of Medicine, volume 351, December 23, 2004. Before you consider surgery, consider the experiences of long-termers, because, remember, who does not study history is doomed to repeat it.